Slider interactions in Articulate Storyline are a great way for you to present your training content in a very visually appealing way, but also gives your learners the ability to interact and engage with your content. So in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how you can create a very simple slider interaction. So let's get started. So the slider interaction that we're going to build will be to introduce new employees to some members of the executive leadership team. As you can see, I've got a slide prepared. So let's preview this so you can see what we're trying to create here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and preview the slide. And you can see that the learner they would first see this slide, and they have this instructive text down here asking them to move the slider to the right. When they move it to the right, it reveals a member of the executive leadership team, and moves it to the right again, shows someone else. They move the slider again, and it reveals another person. Okay, so that's the type of interaction that we're going to build. All right, it's a very simple interaction. So let's see how we can create this. I'm going to go ahead and close this preview, and I will bring in a new slide. So I'll go to new slide, and it introduces a blank slide here. All right, the first thing I need to do is to introduce my background image. So I'm going to go to insert, I'll go to picture, and I'm going to insert that image onto the slide. Then I'm going to format this image a little bit. So I'll just, I'll recolor it. So this is the style that I'm going for. And I would also change the contrast as well. So I'll go for that, and I'm fine with that. I'll go ahead and lock this. The next thing I want on this slide is text. So I'm going to go to insert, and I will go to text box and select that. And I can now introduce text onto my slide. All right. So here I want the text to say team. Of course, I need to change the way my text looks. So I'm going to first of all change this color to white. I'm also going to change the font, and I'm going to increase the size of my font as well. Actually, let's go a little bit bigger. Okay, something like that. And I'm also going to center it. Okay, that looks good. All right. Okay, so I'm happy with that text. Next thing I want to do is I want to introduce a shape layer at the bottom here. So I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to shape, and I'll select a rectangle shape, and I will bring that here. Right. I need to go to format to change the color of this shape. So I'm going to go to format, and the color I want is already selected. So I'm just going to click on that to change the color fill. But of course, you can always click this drop down and you can select whatever color works for you. I'm also going to change the shape outline as well, because I'm actually going to say I do not want an outline. So I'll select no outline. All right. And I'll just reduce the size of this a little bit. All right, so I like the way that looks. Next thing I want to do is to introduce another text object. So I'm going to go to Insert. Now, a keyboard shortcut for inserting text is Control T, as you can see right there. So, but I'll go ahead and just click that and select that, and I will add my text in. And I'm going to just type. It's really hard to see what I'm typing, so what I'll do is I will just change the color to white. Good. And I'll provide my instructive text here. I'll do that. Center it. That looks good. So I'm happy with that line of text. I can lock this in as well. And then the next thing I need to introduce onto this slide is my slider. So I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go right here under the Interactive Objects section. I'm going to select Slider. And you can see that there are different options and different styles here. I like the first one, so I'll select that first one. And I'm just going to draw it right here like that. And I'm happy with the way that looks. I'll move it up just a little bit. There you go. And with this slider selected, I can change the design and the format, how it looks and everything here as well. So I'm going to go to Format, and I will select that because I like that orange one. And I want the track style to be that color, right? But of course, there's other formatting options here. You can change the thumb effects, track border, and so on and so forth. But I am happy with what I have selected here, so I'm going to leave that as is. Great, so now that our base layer slide is all set, the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and create our individual slide layers. So to do that, I'm going to go to Slide Layers. I'm going to add a new layer. And here I'm going to introduce the very first member of the executive team. So I'm going to bring in an image. I'll go to Insert, Picture, bring in Head of IT. Okay, all right, now you can see the image almost covers the entire slide, which is really not what I want, right? So what I need to do is I need to crop this image a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go to, with the image selected, you want to go to Format, you want to select Crop, so that image is going to be cropped now. So I can then drag from the bottom like so. I want to move it up to about there. So that is good. And I'm going to select that. So you can see the image is cropped. The other thing I want to do to this image is I want to, kind of change the look as well, right? So I'm going to recolor the image just to kind of keep to the same theme and, look and feel that that I started with, right? So keep that. And the other thing I'm going to introduce onto this slide is a shape layer, and that's where our text is going to sit. So let's introduce another shape layer. Actually, before we do that, let's lock this so that we don't accidentally mess with it. So, and I'm going to go to Insert. I will go to Shape. And I'll bring in a new shape like so. And I'm going to draw that shape like that. All right, so that looks good. I will also format this shape, change the color, and I don't want any outline, so I'll say no outline. Perfect. So this is looking good so far. Let's lock this shape in place. The next thing I want to introduce on here is text, of course. So I'm going to go to Insert, go to Text Box, and I'm going to bring in text. All right. Before I start to type in here, I want to make sure that the color is, see, by default it is black, but I'm going to change it to white. And I'm also going to change the font as well. And now let's type. Okay, give her a name, and I'm going to increase the size of that text. Okay, so that looks good. Now, I want another block of text which would tell us her title or her position within the organization. So I'm going to, I could simply copy and paste this, or I can just do, I can press Control on my keyboard and just drag like so, and that will duplicate that text. All right. Now let's also let's reduce the size of this text a little bit. So I'll go with 16, and for this one we'll just say this is the title. So her title is Head of IT. Okay, perfect. And I want another block of text. For this one, let's go ahead and press Control or Command on your keyboard and then drag to duplicate that text object. I'm going to just change the font for this one. Oops, let's change it to, and I'll reduce the size. Okay, and I actually want some placeholder text right here. And a quick and easy way to add placeholder text in Storyline is to type in equals lorem open parenthesis close parentheses enter, and you can see that brings in a block of gibberish. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just reduce that, and great. So that looks good. This is what I want. Okay. Now, so this layer is completed. I'm going to rename this layer. So here, you can call this layer whatever you want. You know, I can say this is the head of IT, or I can just put the name. Let's go with head of IT, enter. Okay. And instead of having to recreate this layer from scratch, I'm going to just duplicate this layer and work from there. Okay. So because we need 2 more layers, right? So I'm going to duplicate. So now that layer is duplicated. So, and you can see that the layer is now selected. And first thing I need to do here is I need to change the image. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock these two. All right. So I will right click on the image and then click replace picture from file, and here I want to bring in the head of business operations. Okay, perfect. So the image is now on the slide, So I'm just going to move it a little bit to the right just so that it can be properly positioned the way I want it. Okay, that looks good. But of course, you can see that some portion of the image falls off of the slide. I can fix that by just going to Format and then cropping the image a little bit more. So I'll go to Format, Crop, and I'm just going to drag and move that like so. Okay, and so that looks good. Perfect. And of course, I want the same set of information, right? But of course, this is a different person, so we're going to just change the name. So we're going to call her Kayla Smith, and she is the head of business operations, right? And of course, some descriptive text here to talk about what she does and so on and so forth. Again, remember, this slide this interaction we're building is for new employees to introduce them to members of the executive team, right? Okay, great. So that's the second layer, and I'm going to rename that layer here, and I'm just going to call this head of business operations. Great. And now onto the final layer that we have to create. I'm going to again duplicate by clicking on that button, and it duplicates that layer. First thing I need to do is to I need to change the image. So I'm going to again right click on the image, and I'm going to replace picture from file, and I'm going to select the head of marketing picture. Okay, great. So now you can see the image is selected, but I need to resize this image. So I'm just going to grab it from the end right there, and I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard, and I'm just going to resize it like so. That looks great. Awesome. So again, I need to also come here and I need to change the name. So here we're going to say that his name is Kevin Fields, and he is the head of marketing. All right, again, we'll keep that placeholder text right there. I'm going to rename the slide layer here. We'll just say this is head of marketing. Press enter. Okay, good. So everything looks good. We've got our slide layers created, and I'm gonna head back to the base layer. Okay. Before we begin to set triggers, we want to set the properties of this slider. Okay. And so to do that, I'm going to select the slider, and I'm going to go up to design, and for this we want basically 4 stops. So essentially we want to create a slider that has 4 stops: stop 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to reduce this to 4. Okay, stop 1 would be for the head of IT, stop 2 would be for the head of business operations, and stop 3 would be for the head of marketing. So that's really what we want. For the initial end step, that's essentially indicating that we want this to move in increments of 1. So we'll leave that as is. All right, so now that that's set, we can begin to set our triggers. So to set the triggers, I'm going to head over to triggers. I'm going to create a new trigger. And the action that I want is I want to show layer. So make sure that show layer is the action you select. And for this one, I want to show the head of IT first. And I want to show this layer when the slider, which is our slider 1, it's the only slider we have in our project, when the slider's value is between, no, that's not the one we want, when the value is equal to 1. Okay, now click OK. I'm going to create a new trigger. I could have easily duplicated that first one, but let's just go through the process again. I'll say show layer. This time I want to show the second layer, which is the head of business operations. When the slider, which is slider 1, when the value is equal to 2. Click OK. And we'll do this one more time. Want to show layer, right? And the layer we want to show is head of marketing. When the slider 1, when the value is equal to 3. Click OK. All right, so that looks good. So now all we have to do is just preview the slide. But before we do that, I want to just go ahead and I want to just align things properly. So make sure I select all of the objects on this slide, and I'm going to go to Format, and I'm just going to align center. All right, so now everything should be well centered, and maybe I could even move this down a little bit. Yeah, kind of just keep that centered a little bit more, so that looks good. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and preview this slide and see if this interaction works. Okay, so that's the first slide that the learner sees, and they get this instruction here, and when they move the slider, it shows the first person. Move it again, shows the next person. They move it, shows the third person. So that looks pretty good. So as you can see, slider interactions are a great way for you to add a very simple interactivity and engagement to your storyline courses. It's simple enough for you to just give it a try and maybe incorporate it into one of your future projects. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.